Bob had already gone through and said, I'll take slides 1 to this, you take this to this. So I end up with golf. Thank you, Bob. Comes with experience, I guess. You've already given the game away. Come on. Okay, but seriously, folks. Economic realities of Sierra Golf Department. You see the themes, the way we try to build the report, follow the methodology that we try to apply. Golf operations do not break even from user fees alone. We're not a public golf course. Only trail and cart fees typically are what's charged to residents. Other costs are included in maintenance fees. Nationally, obviously, we have an aging population. We all know about the impact on that, on golf, in regards to that. Attrition in golf play, we've seen that in every community that we deal with, and you guys can all read the press nationally and locally to talk about that. There is, similarly with that, there's an oversupply in the market. One of the things we have heard from, we really don't do work with developers. We're doing a little bit of work for one that asked us to help in some of their clubs because they've got cost control issues. But one of the comments they said was, we'll never build a community again like we built at so-and-so, which is golf and things like that. And we don't know if anyone else will, which, if there's oversupply in the market, that's great, right? From your perspective. Increasing cost base, we'll show you some statistics that can look pretty darn scary. I think they are pretty scary in terms of what's happening with cost-based golf. And again, golf is an amenity. I know you guys talk about all your neighbors. You talk about Timber Pines, Timber Range. You look on the Timber Pines website, and the first thing you see is you live here, you own it all. So interesting comments from your competitor, if you will. And we just included this slide. This is from the National Golf Foundation. I know it's hard to read, but again, the circle we put over Florida there, and this is just through June. But year to date, through June, Tampa rounds were down, I think it's 10.7%, something like that. 3.1% for the month. Obviously, we all know about the winter we had. But you can go and pull these statistics going back. The National Golf Foundation presents them every month, and certainly you can look at the United States, down 2.7 year to date. And they split that between public and private. And private courses year to date, the rounds are down 4.3% through June. So, again, nothing that should shock us. Heritage fines, what we saw was you're historically reliant on user fees from prepaid members. I think we all know that. There has been a declining number of prepaid members since 2006, which is obviously consistent with the decrease in rounds nationally. You guys are not immune from that. The golf operation, we use this term, it does seem to be treated as a profit center. Despite, if you think of the previous slide where we say, golf is an amenity like any other, certainly what we saw was that maybe there was more of a lean towards, it's a profit center. Obviously it's not that long since you guys turned over, so that may be some holdover from that. Usage fees, highly elastic due to competition. And obviously any of you that dare to think back to your economics textbooks and price elasticity, and Paul referred to this, it came out of the focus groups. Basically, we really have to be very careful when we deal with price increases, because obviously we're very sensitive to it, and it could have a significant impact on demand internally, as well as then you combine that with the fact that there's so many golfing options very close to here. The reports, the 40% you see in the next bullet point, and the 60%, that comes from the survey that we were given the results of. This isn't a separate survey that we did. Of course, not everyone replied to the survey, but if we're going to use it for part of our strategy, then for part of our strategic planning, long-range planning, then we felt that it's something we can look at, and certainly as part of this analysis to see what we can get out of it. What we saw was that about 40% of the homes, the survey responses, don't have golf. The next point we had was that the maintenance is outsourced to Valleycrest. We raised this point, and this is really a cost angle as opposed to a revenue angle. and I guess this is a good point in any to talk about the fact that, in a non-profit environment, you start with fixing costs and controlling costs. And Neil made good reference to that in his opening remarks about the challenges that the board put out for management to control costs. Until you control costs and know what they are, and that they give the homeowner experience that we want and we're willing to pay for, you have no idea what to set revenue on, what to set price on. So with that overlay, we did pick up on this. There's some discussion going on with the allocation of the Valley Crest and how that's allocated. This is how we're told it's allocated: 65% golf, 35% common grounds. We didn't do an audit. We can do that, but we're not here to do an audit. Golf course acreage, we're told, is 21% of the total community. And obviously, you go further than that. We know villages are somewhat responsible for maintaining common areas and things like that. But we just felt that, and we'll come back to this point, we felt that that's something that really needed to be looked at in terms of how you get value for money from that contract. Almost all of the series that we have in our database do it in-house. We golf course maintenance in-house. And I think you may have had some bad issues with that in the past, but that's the point we need to make. So effectively, if 40% of the homes per the survey don't have any golfers in, and we're relying historically on user fees, then basically the 60% of the homes are going to have to bear the cost of the golf course. That's what's the model. What we wanted to do, and we appreciate with any kind of forecasting, you can play with assumptions all day long, so take that for what it's worth, but what we wanted to do was try and stress test the model that sits right now, being that basically user fees are ostensibly going to cover our golf course costs. So we took where you stand, and these are some of the assumptions that we use, that we've seen consistently throughout our client base. Cost per hole will increase to 7%. Daily fee rounds will experience tampa area attrition of 3%. Daily fee and cart rates can only be increased by 3% if we were to do that. To remain competitive in the marketplace, for the comments that I obviously made earlier. And prepaid members have an attrition rate of 5%, which has been pretty consistent, I think, with what the club's experienced and the association has experienced in recent years. Excuse me. We probably should put a total on there, but starting in 2010, and again, we've been working on this for a few months, so the projections may have changed in terms of where the golf course costs were going to end up at the end of this fiscal year. But we started in 2010 saying golf course costs should come out about $1.1 million. That was the last projection we saw. And basically, the red bar in the middle says, okay, this is daily fee, pay as you go, whatever term you want to put on it, golfers, their usage, and how much revenue we may derive from them between revenue and green fees and then cart fees. So obviously, A minus B gives you C. Basically saying that, okay, if we don't have any kick in from assessments to get to break even, we need $988,000 in total, up into the pro shop sales, everything else from the prepaid perspective. And then we applied those assumptions, and when you run that across to 2015, the total golf course cost goes from 1.19 to about 1.67. And again, we talked about trying to project some of the revenue we may get from daily fee golfers given your current structure, and again where we'd end up relying on prepaid golf, and that goes up to a reliance of about 1.4 million, obviously quite a substantial increase if we were to look forward and any of these assumptions were to hold true. That's basically the raw basis for the next couple of slides. If you want to flip this ball, that shows you the percentage reliance in percentage terms, going from 83% up to 88%. Where did the next one go? So what we wanted to try and break that down to then was, and again,